most people assume that if you want to be a digital artist, you need to go to art school. I didn't. And honestly, I never even planned on becoming a digital artist in the first place. It was more like I've always loved drawing. I was always sketching on paper whenever I had the chance. Traditional art was like all I knew, and for a long time, I thought that was fine. But there was one problem. I absolutely sucked at coloring. Like, no matter how much I practiced, I just couldn't get traditional coloring to look the way I had imagined it in my head. Colored pencils, markers, whatever I tried, it never really looked good. It looked so bad. But luckily, around that same time, I started noticing something quite different actually happening. I started realizing people were drawing on their computers. Yeah, so artists were using drawing tablets and softwares to create these incredible illustrations. And I remember thinking, wait, you can actually do that? You can draw digitally? What? It completely changed the way how I looked at art in general. So I spent about a week researching digital art. I watched YouTube videos, I read articles, I even talked to some of my teachers about it to see if it's something worth trying. And the more I learned, the more I really wanted to try it. So I eventually decided to invest in my first drawing tablet. It was just a simple graphics tablet where you draw on the pad while looking at your monitor. Looking back, that little purchase completely changed my life. I started drawing digitally almost every day. At first, it felt amazing. I suddenly had unlimited colors, unlimited undos I could do, no need to worry about wasting paper or ruining my drawings because of one tiny mistake I made. It honestly felt amazing. But that excitement didn't last long, sadly. Because I quickly realized something that nobody had ever told me. Traditional art and digital art are not the same at all. These are two completely different things. Yeah, sure, you can understand anatomy and perspective and basic drawing stuff, but using layers and learning digital brushes and understanding pen pressure sensitivity, learning shortcuts, figuring out different blend modes, blah 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 blah. It felt like I was starting over from scratch, honestly speaking. Everything I had already learned suddenly had to be relearned in a completely different way. And yeah, it kinda sucked. Then I ran into another problem. I had spent so much time trying to perfect my sketches and my line art. Throughout the beginning, I barely spent any time learning how to actually color digitally. So my line art looked decent, but my coloring looked extremely terrible. This was the same problem I had with traditional art. My coloring looked terrible. I'd finished the sketch and I was really proud of it, but then I had to add color and somehow I made it look worse with my coloring. That was probably one of the most frustrating parts of, I would say, my art journey as a whole. Because I realized that being good at line art didn't automatically make you good at coloring or painting. Those are completely different skills and they both need practice. Then came the part that almost every artist goes through, the comparison stage. I would scroll on TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram, whatever, and see artists making these incredible illustrations, like high level. Like, look at this. Wouldn't you be jealous of this? Oh my god. But yeah, every piece looked perfect, every color looked beautiful, every drawing I seen just looked so good, and yet mine looked so bad. Then I would start looking back at my art and I would think, wow, I suck. I generally started wondering if I had made a mistake with digital art. And honestly, to this day, I still do question myself. I do kind of question myself here and there if this was worth it all. Maybe digital art wasn't for me. Maybe digital art isn't for me. Maybe I had started too late, maybe I just wasn't learning quick enough or something. I generally didn't know. But here's something I eventually realized. Most of these artists had years of experience, like some had been drawing longer than I'd even known about digital art completely. I was comparing my first few months to the people who had spent years building their skill, and that isn't a fair comparison. Looking back now, I can confidently say I didn't become a digital artist because I went to school. I became one because I stayed curious. I kept practicing even when my colors looked awful. I kept drawing even when I compared myself to others. I kept learning even when I felt like I was starting over. And every single bad drawing taught me something that my good drawings never could, in a weird way. So if you're watching this because you're thinking about becoming a digital artist, don't even think about it, just do it. You don't need expensive equipment, you don't need the perfect software, and you definitely don't need permission from anyone else. Start with what you have. Accept that your first drawing won't be amazing. Accept that accept that you'll make mistakes. Accept that you'll probably redraw the same thing about 100 times, because that's exactly how artists are made. Not through talent or through school, but through showing up, learning, and refusing to quit. And who knows, maybe one day you look back at your first drawing, smile, and realize how far you've come. I think I've come a long way. I think I've come a decently long way. I may not be the best artist out there, but I think I'm also quite decent enough to draw digitally. I hope that tutorial helped. If you found the video interesting, please make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my VGen. That's it. Bye bye.